In the world of sim racing, there's a new competitor. Weather like we've never seen. 300,000 polygons of detail in each car.
Tyre wear.
Engine malfunctions.
Real-time statistics.
But most of all, it's got go-karts. Project Cars is a racing sim brought to us by Slightly Mad Studios, known for the excellent Need for Speed Shift games. And Cars is a true racing sim, with all the sliders and physics under the hood to go with it. It's a very important game for a few reasons. For a start, it wants to be up there with iRacing and R-Factor, two of the leading racing sims right now, and you get the impression it wants to lure their community.
It's also the only true sim racing game on consoles. I mean, if you thought Forza had tuning sliders, get ready to be overwhelmed. It's also one of the most incredible looking racing games we've ever seen.
So the big question is, can it cater for those sim enthusiasts, but still be fun for the rest of us? Let's start with the campaign. Since the game's crowdfunding beginnings, the devs have been quite vocal about catering to the racing community. And they discovered that one of the biggest problems in modern racing games is that cash XP unlock system, where you start with the really slow cars and then eventually work your way up to the faster ones.
Yeah, and this has always been the case, but when you stop and think about it, it's actually kind of silly.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't think of a racing game that I have ever finished, except for maybe Burnout Legends on PSP. So with Project Cars, they've ditched all XP unlocks and instead just let you start off in any discipline that you like.
You can still start at Tier 8 with karts, which is super fun. And then work your way up to Formula and prototype cars. But there's nothing stopping you from starting at the top. And there are different goals to achieve in-game depending on your choices.
Climb the motorsport ranks quickly to claim the ultimate prize.
It's a good system, Barjo, but I don't think it was explained very well.
Yeah, it isn't. I got stuck racing karts for hours before I realised how it all worked. In the end, I didn't mind though, because taking a 250cc kart around Bathurst a whole bunch of times was incredibly fun.
I even really knew that professional go-karting was a thing, like outside of the Mushroom Kingdom.
Yeah, me either.
Take a look at and sign the contract so we can begin.
As you progress through the campaign, you'll get emails and invites, which will then let you accept new contracts and enter individual events on your own calendar just for fun. If you do get stuck in a season that you're not enjoying though, you can abandon it, but then you get a sad email from the organisers.
Hey man, sorry to hear you're leaving. It was a bit of a shock to us, to be honest, but we respect your decision. Hopefully, we won't be driving against you in a future season. Winky smiley face. All the best, mate. Rico Malone.
They get so sad, Hex.
Yeah, they do. I quite liked the email system though, but it's totally up to you to manage your own difficulty.
Yeah, it's quite hard to switch over to that way of thinking, isn't it?
It's far more complicated than with games that just let you dynamically move between easy, normal, and hard. You need to do the difficulty balancing yourself, test out what works for you, and find the sweet spot. And this will all depend on the kind of assists you use, penalties you select, AI level, and if you're using a wheel or a controller. I just wish there was some tangible reward though, Barjo, for challenging yourself.
Yeah, me too, but I guess that's why they've gone for this kind of no unlock system. No mods, no XP, no cash like we've been talking about. It's pure driving how you want to.
Yeah, and I guess I do look at the campaign as a bit of practice in preparation for online.
I must say, it did take me quite a while to get used to this with a controller. Especially for the rear-wheel drive and formula cars.
Yeah, me too. We should point out that we're not racing sim experts, as you can clearly see when we took a McLaren P1 out for a spin, with no assists, in a thunderstorm.
Nailed it. This game certainly taught me to respect the cars more, you know, to bend to their power as opposed to just bending their metal. found myself backing off on acceleration much more than I usually do in racing games. And the challenge also encouraged me to go online and read more about how to mitigate fishtailing and that kind of thing. I've never had a racer do that for me. Even so, I found some of the more powerful cars just impossible with a controller unless you turn steering assist on. And I refuse to do that.
The good news is there are plenty of controller settings. So if you're not using a wheel, it might just be a case of playing with dead zones and assist to get it right. Mostly though, these cars are just so much fun to drive. There's a wonderful sense of speed with this game, and so many camera views too.
So many views. Chase, cockpit, middle cockpit, bonnet, above roof, ground level. Oh man, that ground level is terrifying.
It's so hard to see those bends. I liked how if you don't do a qualifying race, you'll automatically be put in last place for the actual race. You really do have to learn these tracks, which is as it should be.
Yeah, and there's a good selection of tracks, much more than I was expecting. And they've all got tough sections to learn. Naturally, dirt and grass are your enemy, and resetting takes a lot of valuable time.
There's no rewind either, which is almost a standard in races nowadays, so that puts extra pressure on you. Throw in tyre wear, malfunctions, petrol refueling, mandatory pit stops, and there's quite a lot to consider before you even get on the track.
Hate sitting in that pit and just watching cars go past and I'm losing my place.
Well, I'm sure that's how actual race car drivers feel.
Yeah, true. Go, go, go! I love how much you can customize in a race though, but most of all, besides how incredible this game looks, I love the weather.
Oh, we have never seen weather like this in a racing game.
Oh, fog, thunderstorms, light rain, it's got it all. In custom races, you can set weather to roll in and change at high speed, you can set the time of day, or you can just make the weather exactly how it is in the real world right now at that location.
Yes, they've built a real-world GPS model for these tracks. So if it's raining along the California coast in the real world, it will be in-game as well. Or if you want to go back in time to a specific day and set up a historical race, apparently the weather for that day will be there. I mean, that's a really nice feature. The rain is really incredible too. It really affects your racing.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is just such a good looking game. At times photorealistic, and I'm not even exaggerating. I usually exaggerate.
Green, green, green.
And the way the sun just moves over lightly wet tarmac, oh hex, I've never been excited about tarmac before, but this is tarmac of the year. And apparently the game is 12K ready, so I think these devs are in for the long haul with Project Cars.
Yeah, just the mood that a certain time of day creates as well. I mean, it's pretty magical. You can tell they pride themselves on detail, from wear and tear on the real world tracks to the cars themselves.
And the cockpits are so good. Cockpits of the year.
Really?
Hex. Yeah, absolutely. And even the little handles that wind down the windows are fantastic. Handy winding down window things of the year.
No.
Of course, you will need a beefy PC to run this, but it actually looks fantastic on console too.
So where does this game sit in the sim racing scene? Without putting hundreds of hours into games like iRacing or R Factor, it's really hard to tell how well this plays by comparison and if it could be a true competitor.
But our sim racing expert on the team, Marv, spent a few hours with the game, and we'd like to share some of his initial impressions. When playing this game with a wheel, his feedback was it worked pretty well, but he did have some issues with getting enough feedback to distinguish when the cars lost control, and little bumps on the track weren't as noticeable as they could be. I personally had a lot of issues with the rumble on the controllers. I used Xbox One and 360 controllers, and it just seemed to rumble for ages when it wasn't meant to, and sometimes when I paused, it would just keep rumbling.
It's good to see that they support so many wheels on PC though, Barjo. It would be nice to be able to turn off the visual wheel in the game when you're using a racing wheel, but the helmet cam view is pretty awesome. I imagine this game would be incredible in VR, Barjo, and it does have support for both Morpheus and Oculus.
I'm sure I would vomit a lot. Another thing Marv said is that iRacing has better track representation. It just feels more one-to-one. But Cars has more detail and flair with its visuals. Too much flair with the visuals can be a bad thing for a sim game because it feels too video gamey. But you can turn all those off and have a more pure experience. And I think they built that with this in mind.
One of the biggest draw cards to iRacing is that it has online dedicated servers to help with lag.
Now I've got John Emerson's TTL, good game forward for company.
We got Emerson in the lead. Okay, hard.
So hopefully the planned servers for Project Cars will perform too.
Yeah, I hope so too, because a game like this really will live or die online.
I'm just in love with the lighting in this game. Ooh, no.
Sadly, at the time of review, this game wasn't live, so we couldn't test out all the online functionality.
Cars seems to aim heavily for the World GT Series fans, which is taking off in iRacing. It's one of the more popular series for road racing, so that's a good thing. There are a few cars, of course, that we'd love to see that aren't there, but it's a pretty strong lineup overall. One thing this game definitely has over its competition, besides weather and detail, is the sound. I mean, these cars sound amazing.
Yeah. There's going to be a lot that the sim community demands from this game, and it's up to the developer to see whether they can evolve and meet those demands over time. But for the rest of us arcadey hybrid racing plebs, I think the campaign on one hand may feel a little empty for those who prefer a more streamlined traditional approach. But on the other hand, I think a lot of people will really like this new style of racing, and those weather effects and detail are worth the price of admission on their own, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree, Barger. This game is all about options. And you can still play it ignoring the sim side of things mostly and have a fantastic racing experience. Project Cars is a big deal, and this relatively small team have done a fantastic job with it. I'm giving it 4 stars.
Yeah, this is made with a lot of love for the sport. I'm giving it 4 as well.